You are listening to the Maple Footy Podcast, the unofficial football podcast of the North. I'm your host, Sam Little. Find me on socials at SamLittle44 and the podcast at Maple Footy Pod. And now there's nothing left to say except for sit back, enjoy, and welcome to the show.
Hello, yes, welcome back to the Maple Footy Podcast. And as promised in the last episode, I will be breaking down our squad selection for this October international break. I'm very excited about this one. Montreal getting themselves a friendly against Australia. I will be making the trip. How about that? Very, very much looking forward to that, though. After Australia, we will be taking on Colombia in America. What can you do? Sadly, not in Canada or Colombia. I will never understand this sport, I think. But regardless, I think that Jesse Marsch has chosen a good squad. As always, as you've probably come to expect, I disagree with some of the selection. I can't say I disagree with all of the selection, though. So what do you say? Let us get into it. There are, of course, some changes between this squad and the last one. So starting with our goalkeepers, let's get into how I feel about these guys. No surprise here for two of the three, I would say. Maxime Crépeau and Dane St. Clair coming in. Maxime Crépeau coming in on 27 caps. Dane St. Clair coming in on 16. And an inclusion that I am a fan of is James Pantemis. I kind of like Jaden Hibbert. Last window. I don't expect him to play, sadly. But I would like to see Jesse Marsch definitely give him a shot. I do understand that Jesse Marsch is probably trying to figure out who should be the starting goalkeeper for the World Cup. But I would like to see Pantemis get a shot because he has had a very good season with Portland. Him and Maxime Crépeau, both kind of in and out of that number one spot at the club level. And I say this, I think, every time I talk about the two of them. I really hate the fact that two very good Canadian goalkeepers are playing on the same club. I think it really robs us of seeing the best of both of them consistently. But, I guess that's the way the cookie crumbles. I hope one of them maybe leaves Portland this upcoming transfer window. Obviously, I have not seen any rumors or nothing like that. But yeah, it just kind of sucks in that aspect. But as far as James Pantemis, I am very excited to see him if he does play. Like I said, my expectations are not high for that. I really don't expect him to. But we shall see. I do think it is definitely a well-deserved call-up, as I have said multiple times. If he's keeping Maxime Crépeau out of the Portland Timbers lineup, how is it Maxime Crépeau that is getting the call-up to the men's national team and not James Pantemis? And I say that as someone that has said that Maxime Crépeau should be our starting goalkeeper. Yes, I am aware that that may be a little bit hypocritical. But regardless, point being, logistically speaking, if he's keeping him out at club level, how's he getting the call, not getting the call, at international level? So I am very happy about that, but I do think that this will kind of be a case of our last our last international break, where Crépeau will probably get a game and then St. Clair will get a game. I hope if that is the case, Crépeau gets the Montreal game because he, of course, is from Montreal, and I think that would be a very big moment for him. I think that'd be really cool. And yeah, I mean, I don't really have much new to say about these two. They have both had good seasons so far. The only thing that concerns me with Crépeau is outside of, as of recording this last night, he played for the Timbers. Outside of that game, he hasn't played since the last international window with the concussion protocols and what have you. James Pantemis has been the starting goalkeeper for Portland for the last, give or take, a month, outside of the game against the Sounders, of which the Portland Timbers did actually lose. But regardless, I don't think you can question Crépeau's quality. He has earned the name around these parts as the Canadian Buffon. So obviously he is more than good enough. But yeah, my concern is he just hasn't played in the last month and a bit. So I'll be interested to see if Jesse Marsch gives him the nod, or maybe this is the time we do see Pentemis get the nod, or Dane St. Clair starts both games. Speaking of Dane St. Clair, he of course has had a good season so far, has continued his fine form with Minnesota United. So far this season, he has played 29 games, has only conceded 28 goals, and has kept 10 clean sheets. And now coming into the MLS Cup playoffs, you may remember last year, Dane St. Clair was one of the standout players in those MLS Cup playoffs. So this could be crunch time for Dane St. Clair to claim that number one spot as his own for the national team. I will be interested to see. And you know what? Since we've done it with Dane, let's do it with Crépeau and Pentemis. Let's see what their stats are looking like on the season so far. Maxime Crépeau, of course, no stranger to silverware coming into these MLS Cup playoffs. Of course, have Portland officially clinched? I don't think they have. I think it's looking promising, but I don't think they've officially clinched. But yes, of course, has won the Supporter Shield with LAFC and the MLS Cup with LAFC that same season. That season where he broke his leg and missed the World Cup, sadly. And then is a two-time Canadian Cup winner with the Montreal Impact back in 2013 and 2014. So yes, no stranger to silverware is Maxime Crépeau. And of course, since he has kind of been back and forth with James Pantemis this season, he has only started 45% of the league matches in the MLS. He has made 15 appearances, conceded 22 goals, and has kept 3 clean sheets. So not his best season, in my opinion. But I do still claim him as who should be our number one. I just think he fits our system best. I think that our players play with quite the confidence when he is in net. And as I said, he kind of just rises to the occasion when called upon for the Canadian men's national team. He is, of course, as is Dane St. Clair, out of contract come the end of this season. So maybe we might see some Canadian goalkeepers on the move. Time will tell. Last but not least, our uncapped boy, James Pantemis, another one who is no stranger to winning Canadian championships with CF Montreal or Montreal Impact or whatever they were called at the time in which he had won the trophy. Two-time winner of that competition, James Pantemis, of course, has started a couple more games than Maxime Crépeau this season. He has been in the starting 11 55% of the time. He has 18 appearances under his belt, 22 goals conceded, and 4 clean sheets. So him and Maxime Crépeau pretty comparable in that aspect. Pretty even on most things right there. And Dane St. Clair, judging from those stats, should be our starting goalkeeper. But you know us on the Maple Footy. We don't always base on stats. Sometimes it is the eye test, which is probably why I'm always backing Maxime Crépeau. But Dane St. Clair, James Pantemis, and Maxime Crépeau are 3 very solid choices. Probably our 3 best goalkeepers, I would say. You can make a case for, of course, Jaden Hibbert, Jonathan Serrois, and I'm blanking on some right now because I'm doing it off the top of my head. But yeah, those 3 I would say are probably our best 3 in form at the moment. And I would say if all 3 are healthy, probably the ones you will see at the World Cup. But hey, I could be wrong, and there's a lot of time until that World Cup starts. So let's move on to our defenders. Some sad news here because Moise Bombito is the first name on my list. As of recording this, as of today, he went off injured for Nice in either his first or second start since his injury. Didn't look good. It didn't look great. He was stretchered off as well. So very much hoping, like we're being really optimistic here, very much hoping that he is okay. But sadly, when you see a guy get stretchered off in that fashion, it's not usually a good sign, especially with the international break within the next few days. I assume they'll be leaving for international camp within the next day or so. I can't imagine Nice will let him go, which means that a defender spot will probably open up. Who will take that spot? I don't know. More importantly, though, national treasure Moise Bombito, I really hope he's okay, hoping it's nothing super serious that's going to keep him sidelined for a long time. But yeah, just judging by the way it was, I don't know. Not going to sit here and speculate, though. Just going to send him my well wishes and hope for the best. Our defense is still really, really riddled with injuries at present time. So let's take a look at our defenders. Richie Larea sitting on 67 caps. Derek Cornelius on 37. Joel Waterman, 12. The namesake of the Zorhan Bassong fan club is at 6. Luke DeFougerol, 9. Sadly, Moise Bombito, who I don't think will be coming, 19. And our defender slash midfield, Nico Seeger, sitting at 11. We'll start with Larea, who has found himself into pretty fine form with TFC recently. TFC actually 8 unbeaten. Now, if you look into that, it's not the most impressive unbeaten run, as it is 8 draws, but still unbeaten is unbeaten. TFC have not had the best of seasons, but I think Larea, as he tends to be, has been one of the positives for TFC this season. Grabbed an assist in that game against Inter Miami, which we love to see because, 1, screw Inter Miami, and 2, it's very funny to me that TFC went undefeated against Inter Miami all season. Yes, both of them are draws, but still undefeated against Inter Miami. But yeah, Richie Larea, if he's healthy, I don't see Jesse Marsch not taking him for the foreseeable future. He's very much a utility player, and I don't mean that as a slight of like, oh, he's not a starter. I mean, he's very much of the quality to be a starter, and you are blessed with option with Larea on where he can start. Of course, he's kind of moved away from being in the midfield positions like left mid, right mid, what have you, but he could still do a job there. And I'm, of course, mainly talking about him as a left back or right back, especially with Alphonso Davies and Sam Adekubi both out injured. We do need the depth and coverage at left back, although I will talk a little bit about our left back option in a couple of defenders. And then at right back, of course, with Alistair Johnston out, Richie Larea could also do the job there, but I do think that this will probably be Seeger's spot until Alistair Johnston is back. But once again, time will tell. We will see. But yeah, Richie Larea, really looking forward to seeing him play because it's always fun to see Richie Larea play, isn't it? He's, of course, at times struggled with injury this season. And more so at the start of the season. He's knocking on wood now. He has stayed pretty healthy recently. 16 appearances, 1 goal, 1 assist during the campaign in the starting 11, 41% of the time, and 3 yellow cards because we expect nothing less from Richie Larea. Just the way he plays, he's always high intensity, and you love to see it, don't you? So we'll move into our next defender. I would say right now our hot take, maybe our most important defender, Derek Cornelius, with in what I would say our starting back line with Cornelius, Bombito, Davies, and Johnston. Literally 3 of the 4 of them out. I would say Derek Cornelius, this is his defense at the moment. Currently enjoying a very good start to life with Rangers as well. He has had quite the start to the season. As of today, as of recording, he played at left back actually for Rangers and grabbed himself an assist. So proving maybe Derek Cornelius could be an option at left back, but not right now because we need him at center back. Of course, Derek Cornelius banged in his free kick against Wales, making note that he is probably our best set piece taker at the moment, last time out. But yeah, I'm expecting big things from Derek Cornelius, both this season at club level and at international level, just because he has started the season quite well as well for Rangers, which is good. He's getting a new lease on life after leaving Marseille on loan. Yes, get away from Marseille. Please do not like that club. Please leave them. Don't want you there. Thank you very much. But he has so far been a part, since he's come into Rangers, has been a part of their starting 11 67% of the time, has made 3 appearances, and of course grabbed that assist that is in the league. In the Europa League, of course, he has started 100% of their games, making 2 appearances so far. Yeah, very much looking forward to Derek Cornelius really taking the reins here. He has been one of those guys that I think Jesse Marsch has really put a lot of faith into. He's been around the team for quite some time, has Derek Cornelius, but really it wasn't until Jesse Marsch where he really started to get his minutes, really, with the Canadian men's national team. So it's very nice to see, hoping that he can stay healthy, knocking on all the wood, because we do not need another defender going out injured. But yeah, big fan of Derek Cornelius. Really happy to see him here. And yeah, that kind of brings me to an end with Derek Cornelius. So, yeah, very positive around Derek Cornelius, as it tends to be. Very much looking forward to it. Moving into Joel Waterman, sitting on 12 caps at the moment and having just completed, well, not just completed his move, within the last month-ish, completed his move to Chicago Fire and has already found himself grabbing a goal for the club and has been quite good for them so far. Joe Waterman's Chicago Fire will be coming into the playoffs, hoping to go on a little bit of a dream run here, winning the MLS Cup. Joe Waterman, of course, is kind of like a few players that we mentioned, no stranger to winning trophies, has won the Canadian Championship once with CF Montreal, and won the CPL regular season with Calvary back in the CPL, back in his CPL days. But yeah, I mean, I have been a critic of Joel Waterman. I will hold my hands up there. But so far has looked good with Chicago Fire. Has started a few games for them. Yeah, he's looked solid. He, as I said, has grabbed 1 goal, 1 assist between CF Montreal and Chicago Fire. Has played 23 games this season in the MLS. In CanChamp has played 3 games, grabbed 1 goal in there as well. So he's pushing almost 30 games in this season. So, of course, very good that he is playing consistently. We need that for our defenders, especially at this moment in time. Any defender, it feels like, can be kind of called in with how many injuries we have at the moment. But, yeah, I've been impressed with Joel Waterman since his move away from CF Montreal to Chicago Fire. I still think there is a center back that I would enjoy here more, but I will not beat that dead horse, and I will get into some of the snubs of our defenders once I'm done talking about the boys that were called. But moving away from Joel Waterman, let's talk about the namesake of the Zorhan Bassong fan club, and that, of course, is Zorhan Bassong. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Zorhan Bassong. I know he's obviously no Alphonso Davies, but there is only one Alphonso Davies, and I just like the way he plays. I like the passion he has, and just his attitude just seems great. I really, really like Zorhan Bassong, and of course has been rewarded a couple of times with Kansas City having worn the captain's armband, I believe once, maybe twice this season. Definitely the one time, and yeah, I really like him. I really do, and I'm glad that Jesse Marsch is calling him. Of course, injuries have played a little bit of a part in that, but hey, you gotta take your opportunities as they come, don't you? I really hope to see him play, especially in Montreal, of course, being a former Montreal boy. Another one of those players that won the Canadian Championship with Montreal a couple of years back. So I'm hopeful for Zorhan Bassong to play. He has appeared 24 times for Sporting Kansas this season, has grabbed 1 goal, and that goal was a banger as well. He, of course, is kind of a little bit versatile as well, has been deployed in the central midfield a couple of times. I don't expect to see that with the men's national team, but you never know. Has, of course, played left mid and his preferred position left back. He is out of contract as well at the end of this season, so it'll be interesting to see if Sporting Kansas City keeps him or if we see Zorhan Bassong maybe on the move, maybe back to Canada, maybe another MLS team. Like an MLS Canadian team like TFC or back to Montreal or Vancouver or something like that is what I mean. Or another MLS team, an American MLS team, I should clarify. But yeah, happy to see him here. I hope that it continues because I'm a big fan of his. So yeah, nothing more to say on Zorhan Bassong. Let's talk a little bit about Luke DeFougerolles, LDF. The boy on loan at Dender currently as well, sitting at 19 years of age. During this international break, he will be celebrating his birthday as well. He has been in the starting 11 every single game this season for, I just said their name, Dender. I blanked for a second there. But yeah, has been a part of the starting 11 every single game, has grabbed himself a goal. An assist as well. So yeah, I think it's very good to see him playing as much as he is. You can see him kind of getting that consistency improving, which is something I've called upon for him at club level in the past. And obviously he listens to this and has listened to that and has went out of his way to make sure he's starting. But no, genuinely, in all seriousness, I think it very much benefits him, especially being 19, about to be 20 years old. Right now, at this stage of his career, he needs to play as much as he can. Doesn't matter where. To a certain extent, doesn't matter where. And yeah, just really getting minutes in those legs, in the tank, especially because if he's healthy, I do see him coming to the World Cup. And you're just gonna need him to play as much as he can leading up to. So yeah, I don't have a whole ton to say on LDF, but I do expect to see him get a lot of minutes in this international break, just with how the cookie is crumbling with our center back situation. And finally, we're gonna move into Nico Seeger, who can also be classified as a midfielder, but for the sake of this podcast, we'll be classifying him as a defender. So Nico Seeger, very versatile boy, and currently is having a good season in Croatia. I was about to say with Croatia. In Croatia. Has picked up 1 assist so far in this campaign off of 7 appearances. Has been in the starting 11 44% of the time. Would like to see that number go up a little bit. But yeah, being mainly deployed at club level as a defensive midfielder in the Conference League as well. Has made 4 appearances, only 25% of the time in the starting 11, so just 1 game there. Yeah, really, I think a player of his quality needs to be in the starting 11 a lot more than he has been. Just because, especially biasly, I think that he needs to move away from the Croatian league. No disrespect to them, but when he had interest from Syria, I believe the English Championship and the Bundesliga or Bundesliga 2, I think we need to see him play more consistently and get himself a move to one of those clubs. I mean, We'll talk about Kone in a minute, but look at what's done for Kone with Sassuolo. So yeah, I once again, kind of like Luke de Frugal, I think we're going to see him played a lot in this window at right back specifically. I don't see him really getting into the midfield just with how short our defense is at the moment. But yeah, some defenders that are missing, in my opinion. I mean, maybe some of them might get called. Jamie Knight-Labelle, of course, was called last time out and missed out on the call this time. I think a little bit harsh, maybe, but also at the same time, with now Bombito, at the time we thought Bombito would be healthy, but sadly I don't think that will be the case coming into this one. I do think that Jamie Knight-Labelle is probably the first guy to get the call to come over. Maybe not, though, because he is European-based. Maybe Jesse Marsch will go with an MLS option, like a Kamal Miller. Please, Kamal Miller. But yeah, Jamie Knight-Labelle has made 4 appearances, has grabbed 1 goal so far this season. And yeah, I just think that he definitely is one for the future, and I mean, could be one for the present as well. But we need to see him play, I think, more with the international level. He has played at the club level a lot, but I would like to see him at the international level play a little bit more. Kamal Miller, of course, I'm a fan of. You might disagree because I know a lot of people don't rate him super highly anymore. But Kamal Miller, I assure you, the sun will shine on us again. 23 appearances so far in the MLS. 1 banger goal against the Whitecaps as well. I just think he's our third best center back right now. And with Bombito going out, I think it should be a chance for Kamal Miller to step in. But of course, that is Jesse Marsch's call, and that is me under the assumption that Bombito will not be coming due to the injury today. Another defender that I have waxed lyrical about is Kyle Hebert, but of course he's kind of found himself in a weird little slump with St. Louis. He hasn't really been playing a ton in the latter half of this season, so he wasn't getting called when he was playing, so I can't sit here and say he should be getting called when he's not. So I just think he's quality. I think he's a versatile player, especially with a bunch of defenders struggling with injuries. He can do a job literally anywhere in the back line. I think he's a good player to have, but I digress, and I will move into our midfield. Midfielders include Mathieu Choinière sitting on 18 caps coming into this camp, Stefan Eustáquio sitting on 51, Ishmael Kone sitting on 33, my bear Jonathan Osorio at 85, and the best Saliba in world football, Nathan Saliba, sitting on 8 caps this season. I just mainly did our central midfielders in and amongst our midfielders with the list I have made because I know you might classify guys like Buchanan and Liam Miller and what have you as midfielders, but I've kind of lumped them in with the attackers. I feel like they're more of an attacking threat. That's just my thought process behind it all. But of course, these are the midfielders that we are bringing. Mathieu Choinière having a strange season, I think, since moving away from even with Grasshoppers, but since moving away from Grasshoppers to LAFC. Out of the 8 possible games he could play for LAFC this season, he has started just 63% of them, and I know that actually is pretty decent. It feels like he needs to be starting more, in my opinion. because we need to see more of Choinière at club level. He, of course, when he was with Montreal, he started majority of the games where he was eligible to play. Grasshoppers, of course, he barely started the games where he was eligible to play. He has one goal, which came on his debut so far. Just with the form that he's been in with Canada, I would like to see him play more with his club, because he's a player that I think thrives when most players are players that thrive when they're playing consistently. And with him, it feels like it's been very stop-start since coming to LAFC, which is a shame, because it really felt like this time last year he was flirting with a European move. Or, I mean, I think the European move had already gone through. Whatever. It doesn't matter. This time last year was flirting with a European move. Felt like he was maybe leaning towards Bundesliga move. There was some links there. And then, of course, ends up going to Grasshoppers, a respected club in Switzerland. Barely really gets any minutes. And then, of course, heads back to the MLS on loan with LAFC. He could be very crucial to them coming into the playoffs, though. So we will see what the rest of his season holds. But yeah, strange year, I think, for Mathieu Choinière so far. But with Canada, he has been consistent, in my opinion, on form. In the red of Canada has been our best, if not top two midfielders for us in the last number of international breaks. But yeah, we will move into Stefan Estacio, and really, what more can we say about our vice captain who will be captaining us that hasn't really already been said? Currently playing with the biggest club in Portugal, Porto. Yes, that might be a hot take, because you might say Benfica or Sporting Lisbon. I will say Porto, though, because biasly, we have a Canadian playing there, has won many titles with them so far, which is always good to have in and around the squad. Of course, Portuguese League Cup winner, Portuguese champion, Portuguese Cup winner, which is different than the League Cup, and then Portuguese Super Cup winner. Each of those. So for the Portuguese Cup winner, 3-time, Portuguese Super Cup winner 2 times, the other ones once. But yeah, Estacio coming into this camp having on the other side of 50 now. Has not been a great season so far, Stefan Estacio. Now, he is one of those players with Canada that if he's healthy, he will get called regardless of form at club level or regardless of play time. And that's a good thing, because he has not started a singular game for Porto in the league this season. Has started just once for them in the Europa League and in the... That is it. Sorry. I'm looking at Club World Cup stats now, and we're not going to talk about the Club World Cup. But yeah, not a great season so far for him. Has just played a quarter of the minutes that he has been eligible for. That is concerning, especially for a player of his quality. I do think he is more than good enough to be starting with Porto. I know that there have been rumors in the past of him potentially leaving Porto, and I think that if this is going to continue with him in and out the lineup, not really having a set position, they've deployed him as a central mid, a defensive mid, and as a center back even on a couple of occasions. I think you gotta look at it. He is pushing 30 now, and I know that's not old, but in terms of a career for a soccer player, he's pushing 30. That's getting up there. He's going to be 29 in December. I think that we need to evaluate, well, not we. He will need to evaluate, him and his agent will need to evaluate what his best moves could be potentially away from Porto if this kind of continues. But yeah, not a whole ton to say about Estacio, because it has not been his finest season, and not really through fault of his own. He has not been playing. So yeah. Moving into Ishmael Kone, though, it has been a very good season for him. The man on loan from Marseille, please leave Marseille permanently, to Sassuolo. Sassuolo treating him very well at the moment. Has been super impressive. 5 appearances so far in their starting 11, 83% of the time. Has grabbed himself 1 goal, that is in the Serie A, and the Coppa Italia as well. Has added another game to that. So yeah, it's a lot better than this time last year, where Marseille was essentially already kicking him out the club come October after his move in August. Yeah, I will never forgive you, Marseille. You wasted a year of Kone's career, so thank you for that. But yeah, he's looked extremely impressive, both going forward, coming back, and looks very comfortable in possession. Looked great on the ball. Looked great with his distribution. all that you need from a central midfielder. And of course, he still does those typical Kone things, those body feints to take out, 3 or 4 players within one little move and progress the ball forward. That's what I like about Kone. He's so attack minded, I feel, with how he is in possession and just the way he kind of reads the game, looks at the game. With that being said, not afraid to track back, not afraid to do the dirty bits defensively, as he makes some big defensive contributions for Sassuolo each game. So yeah, really, really liking this move for him. I think he's very much impressed a lot of people so far over in Italy, and hoping that maybe if this keeps up, he gets a permanent move away from Marseille, maybe to Sassuolo. Maybe another club comes in and goes, hey, we're really interested in Ishmael Kone. How about we take him off your hands? But yes, time will tell on that. But yeah, really, really liking Kone at the moment. This is a huge year, I would say, for him personally, and for us Canadians. For him, we want to see him at his best coming into this World Cup. Based on ability, he is the best midfielder that we have. So we need to see that consistently. We need to see it week in, week out. We need to see it at the World Cup. So stay healthy, stay consistent. Those are my notes for Kone at the moment. But yeah, really, really happy for Ishmael Kone. Well deserved as well. Jonathan Osorio, my GOAT, sitting on 85 caps. I mean, you know me, I love Oso. I will want him in this team until the day he retires. That's just how I am. But yeah, Jonathan Osorio, very much happy that he is back in the squad, having missed out on the European camp. Jesse Marsch had said Jonathan Osorio was still in the plans for 2026, but a lot was made about him being left out. A lot of people were saying maybe that's it, maybe who knows. I don't know either, but I'm glad that at least for this camp, he has been included, especially with the fact that we are playing Colombia. Jonathan Osorio has heritage from Colombia, so you know that game means a lot to him, and hopefully he gets minutes in that game. Hopefully he gets minutes in Montreal as well, because I will be there, and I would like to see Osorio play. But yeah, he has enjoyed a, kind of like Larea, has been a bit of a bright spot in a bit of a down TFC year. Of course, he is the TFC captain, so that is some leadership in the locker room. He is a veteran in the squad, 33 years old, of course. My goat is getting up there. But yeah, and of course, no stranger to himself winning some titles as well. Has been a top goal scorer in 3 different competitions in the past. CONCACAF Champions League, where he got 4 goals in that year, where TFC sadly fell short in the final. Still the closest, I would say, an MLS Canadian team has come to winning it. Top goal scorer in Canadian Championship, 2 times in his career. MLS Cup champion as well. 3-time Canadian Championship winner, and 1-time Supporters Shield winner. So that is the kind of pedigree Jonathan Osorio brings to the squad. If you are doubting why my GOAT should be there, don't doubt him. All right? Do not doubt him. Has had a relatively healthy-ish season. The only problem was he missed a good few games due to that dislocated shoulder that he got back in. Oh my goodness, when did that happen? It was right before the a little bit before the Gold Cup, then re-aggravated it at the Gold Cup, ended up leaving the Gold Cup. So he's been in the starting 11 63% of the time, has made 23 appearances off of a potential 32, so only missed 9 games, chipping in 3 goals, 1 assist, so not his highest goal-scoring season. But with age, I found that Jonathan Osorio has kind of dropped back a little bit, has went from that kind of attacking, you could say number 10-ish, number 10, 8 kind of player, more sitting as a bit more of a holding midfielder, comfortable to sit, keep possession, win possession, and yeah, I think he's a good player to still have, even though, as I said, he is kind of getting up there, but I do think he is still a valuable player to this squad. I do think that his minutes will continue to decrease with the national team as time goes on, and I do think that he is not a shoo-in for the World Cup squad, but that's a conversation we'll have closer to the World Cup, of course, if he makes it or does not make it. But yeah, I just think it's good to have a player like Jonathan Osorio in the squad, and I do understand I am extremely biased on that one. But we will move away from Jonathan Osorio and move into another player that I hold no bias towards at all, the best Saliba in world football, Nathan Saliba, who has also enjoyed a very, very strong start to this season. Yeah, Anderlecht has been good to Nathan Saliba. That is for sure. Has been in the starting 11 50% of the time, so starting half the games. Has made 9 appearances off a possible 10. Grabs himself 1 goal, 1 assist as well. He also has made 2 appearances in Europa League qualifying, and in the Europa Conference League has already made 3 appearances, chipping in with another goal there. So yeah, Nathan Saliba, I think, has a very high ceiling, and I think we're seeing it with Anderlecht. I think the more he will play, the better we will see him get. He is, of course, still just 21 years old, the reigning young Canadian player of the year, and you could probably make a case for him winning it again this year. But yeah, really, really like how Jesse Marsch has handled Nathan Saliba in these last couple of windows. He went from never being called, being called once, to now being called in the last, is this 3 or 4 international camps? So yeah, really, really like how Jesse Marsch has integrated him into the squad, has really trusted him as well in the center of the park. I think he needs to instill even more trust into him, because there have been times where Jesse Marsch hasn't played him where I think Saliba should have played. So another player as well that has roots in Montreal. So really hope that he plays in that Montreal game, just because it's a very cool moment for them to get to play in their hometown or in around their hometown. You know what I mean? So yeah, very much looking forward to that. As far as snubs in our midfield, let's kind of talk about it. My main snub here is probably Junior Hoylett, and I know I'm not classifying Tajon Buchanan, Jacob Schaffelberg, Liam Miller, et cetera, as midfielders. But I'm classifying Hoylett as a midfielder because last camp, he played in like this number 10 role right behind the striker. I really thought it suited him. I know that Junior Hoylett, for whatever reason now, is no longer a shoe-in call-up. I still think that's a mistake. I still think we don't have a player in our ranks that can do what Hoylett can do, but I digress. I do think it's a shame not to have him in here. One, for his veteran kind of leadership, and also he's been good this season. Like, he's had a good start to the season with Hibs. Kind of like Osorio, he is of course getting up there in age, but still I just think he has stuff to offer. He sits on 67 caps, 17 goals for Canada, has made 5 appearances so far for Hibs this season in the Scottish Premiership, chipping in 1 goal as well. In the Conference League has made 4 appearances as well. He's looked strong in my opinion, and of course looked strong in the last international window. I keep on blanking on what it's called. But yeah, he to me is a pretty big snub. But obviously Jesse Marsch no longer sees him as a shoe-in call-up. As I said, I think it's a mistake, but I will digress. I know I'm beating a dead horse here. I still go to bat for Samuel Piette. I do think that he is another one that still has something to offer our national team, but of course does not seem like he will be in the plans. And you probably haven't heard this name in a while. Liam Fraser has enjoyed quite the start to the season with Reading. Has not been called up. Of course, he does not seem to be anywhere near Jesse Marsch's plans, but I'm a big fan of Liam Fraser, so I will throw his name into the ring. These are just guys off the top of my head. But we will move into the attackers, because otherwise I will go deeper down a rabbit hole of players that should have been called up. But I will digress from here. So, moving into our attackers. Let's start out. Tajon Buchanan sitting on 53 caps coming into this camp. I nearly cried when I saw this one. Tears of joy. Liam Miller, as you know, the Maple Fleet podcast is the home of the Liam Miller Hive. Sitting on 35 caps coming in this camp. I'm so happy to see Liam Miller included. After him, Ali Ahmed sitting on 20 caps. Jaden Nelson on 10. Jacob Schaffelberg, 28. Tani Oluwaseyi, 17. Jonathan David, 69. Kyle Laren, 86. And Promise David on 5. So let's start it out. Tajon Buchanan, I think, is a no-brainer. He, if he's healthy, is our best winger. He just is. He can play 2 ways as well, both going forward, and he will track back as well. He has looked so good for Villarreal this season. Of course, got that hat trick just this weekend, played against Real Madrid. Him and Tani Oluwaseyi both started. So we can also see what we like about Tani Oluwaseyi. But this guy went from playing, no disrespect to the MLS, I'm one of those people that believes MLS is a good league, but went from playing in the MLS just a couple of months ago, no more than 2 months ago, and now he's literally starting against the biggest club in the world in Real Madrid. So talk about Talk about a bit of a trajectory there. But yes, Tajon Buchanan, back to it, has enjoyed a very good start to life with Villarreal. Really, really, really happy to see him out the trenches of Inter Milan and into the good graces of Villarreal. Villarreal have already trusted him more than Inter Milan ever did. Yes, I will never, ever, ever forgive you, Inter Milan. But yes, Tajon Buchanan also comes into this camp as one of our most decorated players at the club level, and really becoming one of those veterans as well. Of course, sitting on 53 caps, now at 26 years old too. He's an Italian champion with Inter Milan, a Super Cup champion with Inter Milan, and a two-time Belgium champion with Club Brugge, and then of course won the Supporters' Shield in his last season with New England. So yeah, he comes into this camp well decorated, well respected as well, and most importantly, well in form. He has made appearances in 8 of 8 games this season, starting 63% of them, and grabbed himself 73% of the available minutes. He sits on those 3 goals in La Liga, and in Champions League has made 2 starts, so starting 100% of their games there. So you can see the trust that Villarreal is instilling into him. As my voice is starting to go, as I've done a lot of talking, I apologize. We will maybe kind of rattle off these last few a bit quick. But yeah, really, really, I just think Tajon Buchanan is a no-brainer to bring, no-brainer to start. I've long put him up. Of course, you have Davies as like our number 1 guy. Then David. I mean, you could probably even make the argument that David could be the number 1 guy. But regardless, those are the top 2. And I think Tajon Buchanan, I genuinely believe Tajon Buchanan and Alistair Johnston sit just underneath those 2, in my opinion. So that just shows you how highly I rate Tajon Buchanan. But yeah, we'll move away from Tajon Buchanan and into the star of the show, the GOAT, Liam Miller. So happy. Just so happy to see him here. Liam Miller, of course, coming back from his ACL injury just this past week, played his first minutes in 300. What was it? 300. Let me pull up his Instagram post. 342 days. Really, really happy for him. I will, of course, I know last episode I was critical of us bringing Ali Ahmed as he was just coming back from injury, so I cannot be critical of that and not be critical of bringing back Liam Miller. There is, of course, that concern of bringing back a guy coming back from such a big injury. But obviously, Jesse Marsch has faith in these guys. I do think that we are starting to see the World Cup squad take shape the more and more we see these guys kind of come back from injury. Of course, you still got guys like Alistair Johnston and Alphonso Davies still out, but their spots will, if they are healthy, I think will be there for them. But yeah, I think you're seeing Jesse Marsch go, I don't really much care if they're coming back from injury or not. Well, not that he doesn't care, but I'm going to bring them if I see them in my plan is the point I'm trying to make. So I think that that's kind of what we're seeing with Jesse Marsch. Liam Miller, not many stats to really read out for you as he's only now played 2 games and didn't start either one of them. Of course, coming back from the injury, you're nursing him back a little bit. But yeah, just really, really happy for him. It's been a very tough year. He started out his Hull career very well and then, of course, got stifled with that injury. And hopefully he can pick up where he left off with Hull. So yeah, really happy for Liam Miller to be here. Ali Ahmed, currently one of the most talked about wingers in Canadian football, I would say. He just, of course, won the Player of the Tournament in the Canadian Championship, as well as the Canadian Championship itself. So yeah, he has enjoyed a nice week, at least. But yeah, I mean, kind of one of those ones where, yeah, he's, of course, called up. He's enjoyed a good season so far. And last time out with Canada, he scored his first ever goal for the national team. So he's one of those tricky wingers that we have that is one also in good form as well. He is attracting interest from clubs abroad. I know Schalke in Germany, we're looking at him currently playing in Bundesliga 2. If I'm him, I may be waiting. Not waiting too long, of course, but maybe seeing if he can attract interest from top-tier clubs. No disrespect to Schalke, one of Germany's biggest clubs, but currently in a pretty bad time in their history. His contract is up, of course, though, at the end of this season, so the Whitecaps could see him go for free. He, of course, it is important to note, has not scored in the MLS this season, has 8 assists, though, in 20 appearances, so that is pretty good. In the Canadian Championship, he had 3 goals in 3 appearances and 1 assist as well. So, yeah, he still, regardless of maybe not scoring as much for Vancouver in the MLS, has scored for Canada recently, has scored a lot in the Canadian Championship, and even though he's not scoring, he is still creating, which I think is something we need. We need those tricky wingers, those creative wingers, and that is exactly what Ali Ahmed is. His partner on the other side, Jaden Nelson, who also just won the Canadian Cup, and the young player of the tournament, had to think of that. That was almost a tongue twister there. Jaden Nelson. I'm always happy to see Jaden Nelson included because he does not feel like a guaranteed call up, even though he has enjoyed the best season of his professional career so far. It still feels like he very much has to really grab the attention of Jesse Marsch to get the call up, and really happy that he has gotten the call up here as well. Feels like he's been around forever, but only 23 years old. He has made 22 appearances this season, 2 goals, 6 assists in the MLS, and in the Canadian Championship, he made 5 appearances, 1 goal, 3 assists. So kind of like Ali Ahmed, he's not scoring a ton, but is extremely creative, extremely tricky. And I mean, just watch the footwork on him. He's one of our more technically, I would say, gifted players in the squad this time out. So yeah, really, really happy to see our 2 Vancouver boys making an appearance here. And we'll move into our next winger, Jacob Schaffelberg, who as well just won the U.S. Open Cup, so the United States' version of the Canadian Championship, if you will. That is also Nashville's first ever trophy in their history, and I also read a stat, it is the first ever professional team in Tennessee to have won a trophy, so a lot of history seeped into that trophy win. Jacob Schaffelberg grabbed an assist in that final as well. I, of course, as you may know if you have been a listener, have been pretty critical of Schaffelberg's form really post-Copa. I don't think he has found consistency at club level or international level. Post-Copa internationally, he was very good in that game against Suriname where he got the brace. Since then, I think he's been very disappointing. And at club level, he has been very up and down this season. But if we can get Jacob Schaffelberg to be peaking at the right time, then we could be getting him at a good time for this international break. He is, I can't believe he's 25 already, by the way. That's crazy. It feels like he's still like that 18-year-old breaking through at TFC. But regardless, he has found minutes kind of hard to come by, has only been in the starting 11 33% of the time off of 22 appearances. 3 goals, 3 assists for himself in the MLS this season, and then in the U.S. Open Cup, grabbed 1 assist, and that assist being rather crucial. We will start a dialogue, though, about Jacob Schaffelberg being quite the big game player. Of course, scored a brace against Inter Miami back in 2024 in the Champions Cup, and, of course, showed up against Suriname when we needed someone to really show up, has, of course, done very well in the Copa America last year, and now adding an assist in a final too. So maybe he's just one of those guys where it's like he'll rise to the occasion. Maybe that's Jacob Schaffelberg, and that's not a bad player to have. But yeah, Jacob Schaffelberg, I'm really hoping he has a good international break because I think he really needs it. Just because, as I said, lack of form, lack of consistency coming into this international break. But as I said, if we can get him peaking at the right time, you just never know what you can get from Jacob Schaffelberg. So, yeah, I think we'll move into our 4 strikers that we have brought. Tani Oluwaseyi just started against Real Madrid. He has enjoyed a nice little start to life in Villarreal, has been racking up some minutes, and, of course, just racked up a big-time start. Wearing the number 21. I love that. Love the number 21. He also has 1 goal, 1 assist so far in 6 La Liga appearances, has started 2 of those games. And then, of course, in the MLS, he grabbed 10 goals, 8 assists in 24 games. So very good season there. And then in Champions League has also made 1 appearance as well. So, yeah, not a whole ton to say about him post-Villarreal move, just except for the fact they seem to be integrating him relatively well into their lineup. If you're starting against Real Madrid, you obviously have some form of faith from the manager, I would say. Villarreal, of course, at the start of this weekend, were third in the league. I probably should have checked it after they lost to Real Madrid, but they were sitting in third. So we're really liking this move for Daniel Oluwaseyi, I think, and coming off of his MLS form as well. My only critique with Daniel Oluwaseyi ever has been that he doesn't score for Canada when he really should be scoring for Canada. And yeah, that's kind of where I sit with Daniel Oluwaseyi. So hoping that he can replicate club form and put that in for the Red of Canada. Jonathan David, our big talisman, has not had the ideal start in Turin. Of course, does have one goal with Juventus, but they are not playing a style that has really suited him. Really strange that they've decided to reinvigorate Dusan Vlahovic after they finally got their guy in David that they thought. No disrespect to Vlahovic, I think he's a very good player as well, but Juventus seemed pretty done with him, and now all of a sudden they're playing him over David. Yildiz, of course, is quality on the wing, and I would like to see him play with David a little bit more. And then the guy that they brought in from Lille with Jonathan David, whose name I literally cannot pronounce, but he needs to play, I think, more with Jonathan David, and then you'll see a lot more good from Jonathan David. He just feels very isolated up top for Juventus at the moment. They're asking him to track back, but he's not really getting involved in the play, in the attack. It's good to see him track back, but he just feels very isolated. They're not really playing to Jonathan David's strengths, which is concerning, I think, at this point, because one, this is a World Cup year. Two, we waited so long to see this Jonathan David move, and if it starts out badly, that's not a good sign. Of course, we've seen signings start out badly and then reinvigorate themselves. But yeah, with Jonathan David, it is a concern, I think, at this moment in time. But maybe they just don't trust him just yet. I don't know, but we need to see him play more, and we need to see it soon because the more Jonathan David plays at club level, the better he'll be at international level. Kyle Larin, one of the older guys, one of the more capped guys as well in the squad. I know people have their opinions on Kyle Larin. I still back him. I still think that he has something to offer for the Canadian men's national team. Hasn't had a great, but hasn't had a bad start with Feyenoord in the Eredivisie. Just this weekend, picked up the game-winning assist in their game, so that is good. But outside of that, I don't have a whole ton to report on Kyle Larin. He has, kind of like David, struggled for minutes so far. But Van Persie has said that Van Persie, by the way, who's the manager of Feyenoord, I should specify, has said that he is a fan of Kyle Larin. So maybe it's just a matter of his time will come. But yeah, so far, off of a possible 5 games, has only made 2 appearances, and none of them have been in the starting 11. Only 4% of available minutes as well. That is not a good sight to see. In the Europa League as well, he has made 2 appearances, but 0 starts there as well. So yeah, another player that we're really going to need to see him rack up the minutes, especially coming into this World Cup year, and with younger strikers like Promise David, of course, doing well. If you're Kyle Larin, I think you're sweating a little bit with this, with your form not even form, just with your minutes not being there. Speaking of Promise David, though, he is the last guy on our list. And picking up where he left off in Belgium, he's already got 4 goals in 8 games in league play, and then adding in 1 goal in 2 games in the Champions League. By the way, scoring the first goal in their club's history, as well as the first goal of this Champions League campaign. So just a nice little bit of history there for Promise David, who I still think Jesse Marsch needs to play more, just because he is in great form and has been in great form for a while now. So I think you need to strike while the iron's hot. You need to play him. You need to show him that you have faith in him, and we need to see what he can do in the Red of Canada. So maybe that now is the time to do that in these international friendlies. Some strikers that, of course, weren't called up: Jason Russell-Rowe, Charles Andreas Brim, and Theo Bair. Theo Bair is the one I will talk about. 1, because I'm a big fan of Theo Bair, and 2, because as of today, he nabbed himself a hat trick. Theo Bair, as you know, I am a fan. He currently is on loan in Switzerland to, I'm going to butcher this, Lausanne Sport. He's, of course, on loan from Auxerre in Ligue 1. So he's got 4 appearances this season, 3 goals in league play. And then just this past week as well, got his first goal in the Europa Conference League. So it is showing if he plays, I think he's going to score. We saw it with Motherwell a couple of seasons back. Then, of course, he went to Auxerre. Didn't really play a whole ton. When he did start to play, he started racking up goal contributions. Then they stopped playing him again. He is one to watch, I think, this season. Because I think if he has another season like he did at Motherwell, I think it's going to be hard to decline him a call-up into the World Cup. That, of course, is, once again, a conversation for closer to the World Cup. But that being said, that is how I feel with Theo Bair and our strikers at the moment. Our strikers right now, not in the best of place, unless you're promised David. Kyle Larin, Jonathan David, not really playing as much. And Tony Olshay, he's still acclimatizing to Villarreal, but looking good as he does. And then Theo Bair, who wasn't called up, could have a claim. So it's an interesting time for the Canadian men's national team. I think it will be a very fun international window. I, of course, will do international match breakdowns after each match. Very much looking forward to them. I love watching these guys play. And yeah, that just about wraps us up. Let me know who you think should have been called up. If you're watching this on YouTube, maybe leave a comment if you want. If you're listening to it on one of the podcasting platforms, shoot us a DM at MapleFootyPod everywhere. Let me know who you think should have been called up, maybe who shouldn't have been, and everything in between. But yeah, really much looking forward to this. And thank you for listening if you've stuck with me all the way through. And until next time, cheers, everyone.
And that was your Maple Footy podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Check my socials for any and all future updates. Remember to support Canadian football, be kind, and until next time, live, laugh, little.